Hey there, and welcome to this video. Today, we're flying Air Canada Economy Class from Toronto to Montreal, but in a preferred seat on board their Airbus A330-300. Preferred seats on Air Canada are designated as such because they have extra legroom and/or are in a preferable location. These include seats in bulkhead rows, exit rows, or in the first few rows near the front of the aircraft. For this flight, I selected seat 18A, which is in the bulkhead row in the first row of the economy cabin. On Air Canada's A330 aircraft, only 4 of the 31 economy rows have preferred seats in them, with a total of 28 preferred seats out of the 241 economy seats in total. These include rows 18 and 19, which are the first row of the economy cabin and the row directly behind it, and rows 33 and 34, which are the midsection bulkhead row and the row directly behind it. All the preferred seats on this aircraft feature extra legroom over the standard seats elsewhere in the cabin and are close to the front of their respective economy sections. The aircraft taking me over to Montreal today is this nearly 21-year-old Airbus A330-300 that was delivered to Air Canada in June of 2001. Air Canada currently operates a fleet of 16 Airbus A330s, with the first 8 of those being delivered new to the airline between 1999 and 2001, and the remaining 8 being acquired from TAP Portugal and Singapore Airlines between 2019 and 2021. Air Canada typically uses their A330 aircraft on transatlantic routes from Toronto and Montreal, and occasionally on some routes to southern destinations. They are also a regular sight on the Montreal-Toronto and Montreal-Vancouver routes. As we get ready to board, let's talk a bit about how much a preferred seat will cost you. On the Toronto-Montreal route, when traveling on a standard or flex economy fare, these seats cost $23 Canadian each to select, while a standard seat costs $11 or $12 Canadian, depending on whether you select the window, middle, or aisle. On the higher-end economy fares, such as Comfort or Latitude, preferred seats are included free of charge. These prices are specific to this route, however, and they're typically higher for longer flights. I'm boarding the aircraft through the second entry door, meaning I bypass the business class cabin and enter directly into the premium economy cabin. Business class on this aircraft consists of 32 lie-flat pod-style seats in a 1-2-1 seating configuration, while premium economy consists of 24 extra reclining seats in a 2-3-2 seating configuration. Moving into the economy cabin, my seat is 18A, which is the window seat in the first row on the left side of the aircraft. As you can see, there's a solid bulkhead wall directly in front of my seat to separate it from the premium economy cabin. The seat is equipped with an adjustable headrest that moves up and down to accommodate different heights, and also has folding sides to provide extra support. In terms of storage space, the overhead bins on this aircraft are quite small, especially when compared to those found on Air Canada's 787 or 777 aircraft, but my large backpack and winter coat fit with no problem. Since I boarded fairly early in Zone 2, there was lots of open space to store my bags, but for those boarding in later zones, finding space may be a struggle on full flights. Since my seat is in the bulkhead row, floor storage is traditionally not permitted. However, since the bulkhead wall doesn't actually go all the way to the floor, it does look as though you might be able to slide something underneath. I didn't test this out, and I'm not sure if it's permitted, merely just an observation. Taking a look at the rest of the cabin, you may be wondering how a 21-year-old aircraft can look so good. That's because all the A330s are undergoing a full retrofit to the updated cabin style of Air Canada's Boeing 787 and 777 aircraft. In economy and premium economy, this means new slimline seats and larger entertainment screens, while in business class, the layout is changing from 1-1-1 to 1-2-1, and the cabin is decked out with the same pod seats as those found on Air Canada's 787 and 777. The economy cabin is maintaining the same 2-4-2 layout, packing in 241 seats. Settling into my seat, the surface is fabric with a leather headrest at the top. These are the same seats used on Air Canada's wide-body fleet, which are slightly different from their narrow-body cabin interiors. We'll get into the full seat tour soon, but first, a look at the view out the window. Row 18 sits along the front edge of the wing, giving you a front row view of the engine. Looking at the seat area, the legroom is phenomenal. As I mentioned earlier, since the bulkhead wall doesn't reach the floor, this gives you even more space to slide your feet underneath. The bulkhead wall also has an interesting curve to it to mold to the reclined position of the premium economy seats in front, which gives my seat even more legroom. On the armrest in between the seats, we have an AC power outlet that's shared between the two seats, and a headphone port for connecting to the entertainment system audio. The armrests in between the seats in this row are not movable on either side, primarily because the tray table is stowed in the right armrest. While this does give you some more definitive boundaries on your personal space, it can be annoying if you have a spare seat next to you and want to stretch out. The tray table that folds out is fairly large and quite sturdy, with the ability to be used in either a half or full-size configuration. It's also mounted on rails such that it can slide inwards and outwards. Taking a look at the entertainment screens provided at these seats, I'll start off by saying that I don't think I've ever seen such a large screen in an economy class seat. It's absolutely massive. These Panasonic EX3 systems are the new standard on Air Canada's A330s and are definitely bigger than the screens on Air Canada's other wide-body aircraft. And if you remember the tiny screens from Air Canada's old A330 cabins, then these are a huge improvement. Lower down on the bulkhead wall, each seat in the row gets its own wall-mounted pocket for storing provided reading materials and any other items you wish to put here. The provided materials include the safety information card for the A330-300 and a couple air sickness bags.
Takeoff and landing under the seat in front of the overhead bin. We also remind you it's a non-smoking flight. We'd also advise you have the necessity to have your mask on at all times during the flight, covering your mouth, nose, and chin.
Pushing back from the gate now and starting up the engines, our expected flying time over to Montreal is just under 1 hour this afternoon. Back to our seat tour, one of the things I don't love about this particular preferred seat is that it's missing a window. So instead of having views out of 2 windows, you have just 1 window and a whole lot of wall space. This makes the seat area fairly dark as well, with less natural light filtering in. The Airbus A330 also has very small porthole-like windows, which don't help with the lighting in the seat either. The windows are equipped with a standard pull-down window shade for blocking out light, though like I said, I'll take all the light I can get. Moving onwards, let's take a look at the seatback entertainment screen that's mounted on the bulkhead wall. For starters, as I mentioned before takeoff, the size of the screen is impressive, with fantastic graphics quality and really vibrant lifelike colors. The system itself is loaded with lots of on-demand content including movies, TV shows, music, audiobooks, podcasts, and games, with a good range of content available under each submenu. Each type of content is grouped into different sections by genre, recommendations, or other themes. In general, the touch responsiveness of the screen is pretty good, though I do find it to be a bit slower to respond to commands than some of the other new systems I've used. Nonetheless, this is leaps and bounds ahead of the old A330 cabin screens that it replaces. Also on the screen, you can access the food and drink items available on today's flight, you can view your flight arrival information or destination guides, or information about Air Canada and their frequent flyer program Aeroplan. Of course, there's a section with the in-flight maps, which are high quality with tons of different viewing options, a similar experience to those on Air Canada's Boeing 787 and 777. As with the new systems on all of Air Canada's updated aircraft, this is generally a really pleasant entertainment screen to use, and the size of this one makes that even better. In the settings menu, you can adjust the system volume, display brightness, and turn off the screen, as well as enable various functions like parental control and night mode. The screen is not tilt adjustable like those at regular economy seats, but the viewing angle is generally pretty good for someone of average height. On the lower edge of the screen, there are 2 headphone ports for connecting to the system audio, along with USB 3.0 and USB-C ports for charging your devices. One negative thing about having the screen mounted on the bulkhead wall is that it's quite a reach, since no remote control is provided at these seats. This is also why another headphone port is provided on the armrest for closer access. From the screen, you can also control the overhead personal reading light. There's an attendant call button on the overhead panel as well, but unfortunately no personal adjustable air conditioning vents at any of the economy seats on Air Canada's A330s. Shortly after takeoff, the cabin crew handed out Clean Care Plus kits, which Air Canada distributes to all passengers on all of their flights as a part of their commitment to passenger safety during the pandemic. In these kits, we have some individual packets of hand sanitizer, some disinfecting hand wipes, and a multi-layer disposable face mask. The crew then began the complimentary in-flight food and drink service. On this short flight of less than 1 hour, you're provided with a drink of your choice and a packet of pretzels on the afternoon flights. Another perk of row 18 at the front of the economy cabin is that you're first in line to be served in economy class. Taking a walk to the midsection of the economy cabin, there's a pair of washrooms here right in the center of the aircraft. This is the closest washroom to my seat, with another 2 at the very rear of the aircraft for a total of 4 for economy overall. This midsection washroom happens to be an accessible lavatory as well, as the partition wall separating the 2 adjacent lavatories is removable to allow for wheelchair access. In general, this individual lavatory is a decent size, and it's quite clean and modern feeling like the rest of the updated cabin. Heading back towards my seat, the most jarring feature of the cabin from this vantage point is those huge entertainment screens. The cabin overall is fairly well lit, though the small windows do limit the amount of natural light coming in. As a part of the cabin upgrade, it does look like they updated the ceiling lighting as well to more modern fixtures.
On board double positively. Ladies and gentlemen, on final approach now, please ensure your seatbelts are securely fastened.
Thanks for joining me for this video and short flight over to Montreal. Now for some final thoughts on the seat and the flight in general. I have to say, this preferred seat in row 18 on Air Canada's Airbus A330 offers very impressive legroom, though the missing window and thus dim lighting gives it a bit of a cave-like feel. It was, however, comfortable and spacious with a stellar in-flight entertainment screen, and I'd be happy sitting here for a long-haul flight. In general, the cabin updates to this fleet were long overdue, but have made a substantial difference in passenger comfort and experience. once considered to be a fleet of not so gracefully aging A330s now look brand new and are competitive with any new aircraft on the market. There are still hints of that old A330 cabin, like the small overhead bins, but in terms of in-seat comfort and connectivity, you would never know that this plane has been in the air for 21 years. Stay tuned for more videos like this where we explore the preferred seats on some of Air Canada's other aircraft, and new trip reports coming soon.